The film starts in the year 1989 during the collapse of the Berlin Wall, as a powerful storm moves across Western Europe, creating constant electrical disruptions, and although the conditions are extremely harsh, a young boy from Spain named Nico Lasarte appears to be enjoying the situation. He is busy recording himself while playing different melodies on his guitar, but suddenly he hears loud screams. When he looks through the window, Nico sees his neighbor Angel Prieto arguing violently with his wife. Afraid that something terrible may occur, he slowly walks toward their house and secretly enters through the back door. When he reaches the living room, he discovers Angel's wife lying lifeless on the floor. The horrifying sight traumatizes the young boy, causing him to scream at the top of his lungs. Unfortunately, Angel arrives moments later holding a knife, seemingly prepared to kill him. Terrified, Nico runs out of the house, but before he can call for help, he is hit by a car. The following day, Angel is arrested by the police on charges of murder, while Nico is declared dead at the hospital. After this, the movie shifts to the year 2014, where another similar storm is once again passing through Europe. A couple named Vera Roy and David Ortiz have just moved into Nico's old house after having it renovated. They live there with their 2-year-old daughter named Gloria. Vera works as a nurse, while David is employed as a banker. David often travels for work, but he appears to love his family deeply. One evening, while the couple is cleaning out the storage room, they discover Nico's old television set and video camera. They also find a collection of videotapes, which sparks their interest. David sets up the vintage equipment, and realizes that it still works. Most of the tapes show Nico practicing guitar and spending time happily with his mother, but suddenly something unusual happens when the television starts broadcasting live footage of the fall of the Berlin Wall. This is the exact same news broadcast that Nico and his mother were watching back in 1989. The next day, the couple invites their neighbors Ater and his mother Clara over for dinner. Vera explains that their television unexpectedly showed news from 1989, but naturally no one believes her. To change the subject, David starts talking about the boy in the videotapes, and Ater immediately recognizes him. He reveals that the boy was his best friend Nico, who died in 1989. Ater then begins narrating the entire story, explaining how Nico discovered his neighbor committing a murder and was killed while trying to escape. Throughout the story, Clara appears very anxious, making it obvious that she is hiding something. After the guests leave, David researches Nico and finds an article stating that Angel committed suicide just 3 months into his prison sentence. However, before dying, Angel confessed that he had planned to bury his wife's remains inside his workshop. That night, the storm becomes even more intense, with thunder echoing outside. Vera, who is sleeping peacefully, is suddenly awakened by a noise coming from the living room. Frightened, she slowly walks toward the sound and finds the old television once again showing the same 1989 news broadcast. As Vera tries to turn it off, Nico suddenly appears on the screen holding his guitar. This is the exact moment when he was recording himself, as shown in the opening scene. At this point, Vera cannot understand what is happening and tries to walk away to call her husband, but Nico notices her from the other side of the television. He is equally shocked to see someone inside his video recording. Nevertheless, he greets her and asks if she can hear him. In a frightened voice, Vera replies yes, and they begin speaking. Nico asks if she likes his guitar playing, and Vera initially responds no. She then tries to explain that she is from the year 2014, but Nico thinks she is joking. Suddenly, Nico hears his neighbor Mr. Angel arguing with his wife. Having heard the full story from Ater, Vera knows that something terrible is about to happen, so she begs Nico not to leave his house. She even tells him that he will die if he enters Angel's home. Despite the warning, Nico leaves his house and eventually discovers the murder. However, because Vera delayed him, he does not get hit by the car, and his life is saved. As a result, he grows up to live a tortured life, failing in the music industry. Meanwhile, a confused Vera decides to forget everything and goes back to sleep, hoping that what she experienced was only a nightmare. However, she does not realize that this strange encounter with Nico is only the beginning of something far worse. The next morning, she wakes up in the hospital with no memory of how she got there. One of her colleagues approaches her and tells her that they have been waiting for her. Thinking that she simply collapsed due to exhaustion, Vera heads to the operation theater, only to discover that something has changed. The main doctor behaves like a nurse, and all the staff address Vera as a doctor. She insists that she is only a nurse, but everyone believes she is joking. This makes Vera think she is hallucinating, so she storms out to calm herself. Shortly afterward, she arrives at her daughter Gloria's school to pick her up, but the students claim that no child by that name exists. Terrified, she rushes to her husband David's office and tries to explain that their daughter is missing, but even he does not recognize her. With no other options left, she goes to the police station and asks for help. A young officer takes her case and asks several questions. Vera explains everything that has happened, including the strange television, but the officer is not convinced and begins doubting her mental state. He checks her records and reveals that she is not married and has no daughter, and instead of helping her, he sends her for an immediate medical evaluation. Later, Vera returns to the same hospital where she works and undergoes an MRI scan. The results are normal, indicating that her brain is functioning properly. After the checkup, she goes to her office and finds several certificates and trophies, all bearing the name Dr. Vera Roy. This is when Vera realizes that something terribly wrong has happened. Without wasting time, she rushes home and barges in through the back door, only to find that the entire house looks completely different. Nervously, she searches Nico Lazard's name online and discovers that a writer has published a book in which Nico is the protagonist, and the book is apparently about time travel. Vera tries to learn more, but a woman suddenly approaches her and claims to be the owner of the house. Shortly afterward, the woman's husband arrives, who turns out to be David himself, now married to someone else. The police arrive outside, forcing Vera to flee. The disturbance attracts several neighbors, including Angel, who was never arrested in this timeline and is now married to Clara. Back in 1989, Nico is equally confused after meeting a woman from the future. Hoping to see her again, he spends the entire day sitting beside the video recorder, but nothing happens. That evening, he slowly walks toward Angel's house to see if everything was just a dream, but it is not. Inside, he finds the woman's dead body in the bathtub. After searching the house, Nico discovers a passport with the dead woman's name but Clara's photograph, realizing that Angel and Clara are together and planning to escape using the wife's identity. Nico attempts to leave with the passport, but Angel returns. Nico hides under the bed and is forced to watch Angel dismember his wife piece by piece until he escapes when Angel receives a phone call. In the present, Vera meets her neighbor and longtime friend Ater and asks him for help, but he does not recognize her. Vera explains personal details about him, and how they met in 2011 in the metro, how they became friends, then lovers, and how Ader later introduced her to David. Hearing this, Ader laughs and calls her a lunatic before leaving. The officer later tracks down Vera and tries to take her to the hospital, but instead she asks for Nico's location. Recognizing the name from the book, the officer agrees to investigate. They visit the writer, who says the idea came from Nico's mother. Vera explains she is the time traveler, and later provides information about the buried body. The remains are found, convincing the officer, who gives her Nico's address. Vera goes to the address and finds David cheating at a hotel. She blackmails him into finding Nico. Angel and Clara are arrested. The truth of the 1989 incident is revealed, including how Nico reported the crime but was dismissed. Years pass, and Nico grows up to become the officer. He finally meets Vera again. The storm returns. Nico explains everything, including how saving him erased her family. Vera begs to return to her timeline. Nico fixes everything by contacting his younger self. Vera wakes up beside David and reunites with her daughter. Angel's crime is exposed. When Vera later sees Nico, he no longer recognizes her. The story ends there. Your support means everything to us, so don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to stay connected.